What is going on, guys? Knife3 here doing another video, and welcome to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1, Onikakushi. So, if you've been watching the channel for the past week, you'll know that I was attempting to start this, but something wasn't right. And as you can tell by the different look of things, I didn't have 7th mod installed, and I also really wasn't proud with the video quality. I mean, I wasn't even putting them through a rendering, so yeah, here we are, starting episode 1 as a fresh new start. And yeah, I still have a lot of this visual novel that I've never experienced before. I've only experienced like the first 30 minutes. So yeah, let's just get straight into this. Onikakushi, opening, Demoned Away chapter. Welcome to the world of Higurashi When They Cry. The Onikakushi arc will be the opening, inviting you into this world. Sit back, relax, and enjoy life in Hinamizawa to the fullest. The difficulty for this chapter is extremely high, but I hope you will enjoy it. Okay. Yay, we still have the child laughter that scares the shit out of me. I love that. Please do not deploy yourself. Even if the world does not forgive you, I will forgive you. Please do not deploy yourself. Even if you do not forgive the world, I will forgive you. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? This is a work of fiction. We know that already. AD 1983. Ah, yes. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize, I only want to trust her because I refuse to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself, in such a silly, sobbing voice. In those tears making a mess of my face, that mechanical, repetitious sound finally stilled and everything fell silent. Only the cry of the cyadas remained annoyingly loud, and yet, I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She's no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion because there was none to show. If she had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't shed any for her. Then why? This pain, my eyes getting moisty. What is happening? I still want to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Beside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough, and countless times have wandered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I've stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that, I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me. I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind, with her. Like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Perhaps I really did love you. Yeah. I'm not used to actually being able to read stuff, and oh yeah, we have the intro. yes, my ears are dead now. That's great. Somebody's been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and multi-lane roads. The melodious cacophony of the crosswalk. Even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks, and the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, the quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There's nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean there aren't any burger joints, there aren't even any vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. An ice cream parlor? No chance. The nearest town had some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors where I used to live, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to the ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody is still apologizing. Who's he apologizing to? He's apologized so much, forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing even now. Then has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice.
Keiichi, そろそろ着くぞ.
Yeah, and we have voice acting now, and when the voice acting comes, I'm not gonna read it, so you don't have to listen to my ugly voice.
起きなさい.
I was finally roused from my nap on my father's farting. Ah yes, I can do English. Ooh, and the backgrounds look so nice. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We'd spent hours riding everything from the boat train to the local routes. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window in the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. No, that they were even in the same era. Era, not area, bruh. From there, we'd take a car deeper into the mountains. Past where the dense forest approaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up. For a second I thought there was something wrong with my CGs, because the baseball field displayed there where I live now, Hinamizawa. Yeah, I'm definitely happy I installed 7th mod. Now I don't have to read everything. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although in exchange you could fill your lungs with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side, so I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even the air had its own taste. Yummy air. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there, and my father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. Such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I never tell him that though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. My mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood
こっ
today.
ちに引っ越してきてからケイチが早起きになって嬉しいわね。
早起きしないと朝飯を食いそびれるんだよ。
I feel like that's the same voice actor in the anime. I thought I was being cute responding with a wisecrack after being praised for
ご飯はいっぱい？それとも半分くらいでいい？
山盛り。
Yeah, pile that food on me. First I was savored the steaming hot rice with seaweed. After that I covered it with the egg. Between bites of rice I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. Excellent as usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile.
こっちに引っ越してきてからケイチが朝食を欠かさないんで嬉しいわね。
I always skip breakfast, personally. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I'm still not a morning person. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast way Mom made me each morning. That was probably the only way I could protest from being forced to attend cram school. I guess that is what you call my rebellious phase. Ah, yes, teenage years. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make me. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom mussed me along with a wide grin.
そろそろレナちゃんと待ち合わせの時間じゃない？
Yes, it is time to meet.
急いで急いで。
Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Ren is one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people coming to meet every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl is just lame. But, well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be considerate. Seriously though, how long does Rena wait for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I race for the door. Oh, they
レ
said
ナ
I
ちゃん
gave...
にお漬物ありがとうって伝えてね。
Oh. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more.
あいよ。
Yeah, they should have sprites for the parents.
ケイチくん、おはよ
Oh, now, I keep thinking that Seventh Law is glitching and keep scaring myself. Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself.
相変わらず早いな。たまにはのんびり朝寝坊したっていいんだぜ。
う。お寝坊したらケイチくんを待たせちゃうじゃない。
She's so conscientious and such a good person.
そん時
Yeah,
は
I
置い
can't
てく。
English.
ケイチくん冷たい。
Imagine if we
い
did
つ
just
も
leave
待
her.
っててあげてるのに。
サクサク置いてく。キリキリ置いてく。
どうして冷たいんだろう。
Ren had slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed.
嘘。ちゃんと待ってるよ。
With those words, Rena seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red.
ありがとう。
レナが来るまでずーっと待ってる。
Waits for 5
いつまで
years.
も。
Rena turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease.
レナはロマンスものの文庫本は読んだことあるか？
ないよ。読んだことない。
This scene is still amazing. From that response, I gathered she was interested in them but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. Oh my... Rena would just start screaming. She'd probably turn red and cut.
そうそう。お袋から伝言。漬物サンキューでしたって。
どういたしまして。
Yes, thank you
ど
for
うだっ
the
た？
pickles.
しょっぱくなかったかな。
They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine to just be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright.
その前に聞きたい。あの漬物を漬けたのはレナか？ レナのお母さんか？
Oh.
なんで聞くんだろう。
Oh my god, Rena, I feel so bad.
しょっぱかった？
No, they were not too salty, they were great. Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically.
レナか？レナのお母さんか？
Oh wait, I keep forgetting that I don't have to read anymore.
なんで作った人聞くんだろう。太郎。
どっちが作ったかで感想が著しく変わる。
Yes, it's a very important matter. She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst, guys like me. Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response.
レナだけど。
うまかった。前回に続きなかなかだったぜ。飯との相性は最高だった。
Yup, her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It was truly a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Rena. I'll train until you can handle it like an average person. Or so I decided for
行こう
myself.
ぜ。ミオンを待たせるとあいつうるさいぞ。
Seeing as she kept spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so I could make her way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Rena Ryugu. I've only known her about a month, but I've come to realize it's not her name that's strange. Coming up the next devious point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, he waved.
お、来た来た。遅いよ二人とも。
いつも遅いのはお前の方だろ。
In a sharp contrast to the diligent Rena, this one most the beat of her own drum. This is Mion Shinozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the
お
class.
はようレナ。そしてケイちゃんお久しぶり。
Yes, yes, it has.
何年ぶりだっけ？
2日しか休んでねえよ。
そうだっけか？前に会った時はこんなにちっちゃくて可愛かったのにな。
Mion's gaze started? Wait, shouldn't it be stared? I don't know. I don't English. At my chest, then dropped straight down, focusing on the port. So she was saying it right there. I know this was my reaction last time, but that line is still amazing. Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. Oh. You'd be surprised. Wait, where's the voice acting? Being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting this little go? Yeah, damn. Yeah. Hope you don't regret. Okay. Okay, now the voice acting is back. I don't know why the voice acting disappeared for a second.
何の話だろう。
Red-faced and flustered, Rena tried to point down, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. Such
どうだった？
trolls.
久しぶりの都会はさ。
They probably didn't want to say that out loud, so that's probably why there was no voice acting. Mion switched gears, dropping the duty talk and changed the topic to something more benefiting the pleasant morning.
葬式で行っただけだぜ。慌ただしいだけだったよ。
でさ、探しといてくれた？頼んどいたやつ。
お前、人の話聞いてないだろ。俺は葬式で帰っただけだぜ。おもちゃ屋巡りをしてる余裕なんかなかったんだよ。
ち。おもちゃ屋とホビーショップは全然違うよ。特に洋物、こっちじゃなかなか手に入らないからね。
Yes, yes, it is.
みーちゃん、またゲームの話？
This is my opinion on when I import stuff from Japan. Mion nodded proudly as Rena giggled.
そう、ケイちゃんに洋芸のカタログを持ってきてもらいたかったんだけどね。
Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky.
そんなのまた通販で取り寄せりゃいいじゃねえか。
ま、 そうするかな。ま
Yep.
たプレイングの熱いゲームを入荷するからね。
Buys Monopoly.
今度は私にも分かりやすいゲームが
Okay,
いい
never
な。
mind, not Monopoly. Rena has just denied Monopoly. Mion is a board and card game enthusiast. I hear she collects quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games.
俺にも分かりそうなゲームがあったらやらせてくれよ。
Heck yeah.
へ
Punishment games are
え、いい
fun.
よ。ケイちゃんさえ良ければね。でもうちらのレベルは高いよ。
上等じゃねえか。俺だって遊び100番遅れを取るつもりはないぜ。
If only you played video games. Oh wait, but this is like 1983.
じゃあ今度はケイチくんも仲間に加わるのかな。
Bristling with joy from head to toe, Rena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink and her expression perked up even further.
男の子ってきっと外で遊ぶ方が好きだと思ってたから。
But we can also
ダメか
play
と思って
outside
たよ。
games if you want. Rena laughed happily. Such a friendly conversation you wouldn't think I had moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in so they won't have to feel like they have to try and make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more open than usually, it should probably be about right for this place. I don't know if you guys just heard it, but I just burped. Hinamizawa was really a small village. Not only was there only one school, but there was only one class. That class encompasses all different grades and ages. There were about 30 students at different levels and they all study in the same class. I'm told that long ago there used to be a bigger school building that they had actual separate classes. However, it seems something happened that made it become a single class and now it stayed that way out of tradition. I was shocked at first, but humans adapted pretty quickly. I've already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt more like a kindergarten than a proper school. Not that was a bad thing. Mion, who had been walking in front of us up to now, suddenly let me take the lead. Right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Too bad I wasn't gonna fall for that one again.
ここで先頭を譲るとはな。お手並み拝見ってことかよ。
Mion chuckled with a haughty smirk on her face.
どうしたの二人とも。
下がってろレナ。危ないぞ。
Yes.
やつだ。
It's a prank.
じゃあさとこちゃんが。
Her name was Sadako Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it was more immature to get worked up over that. The real problem was this.
見え見えの罠だな。引き戸の上に挟んだ黒板消し。
If only there was a CG of
見え
this.
たぜ、サトコ。
A hearty laughter came from beyond the door.
お見事、ケイちゃん。こりゃ今回は勝負あったかな。
いや、相手はサトコだ。これだけとは思えない。
After falling for such an intricate trap since the day I transferred, I no longer let my guard down. Sadako liked to combine a variety of traps, traps that were simply there to bait you into the main one, traps that were... What kind of kid has this as the personality trait? As well as being clever, they almost never miss fire. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to
見たと
relax.
ころ黒板消しは普通。石とかは入れてないみたいだな。
I took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day.
じゃあさガラガラって開けて落としちゃえばいいんじゃないかな。
それだ。
That's what Sadako was after, making me focus my attention upwards, so I lifted my hand to the door. There were thumbtacks stuck in the sliding door, handled with tape, a frightening trap. A post-it and terrifying trap, concealed by using the blackboard eraser.
見事なコンボだ、サトコ。だが所詮はガキの浅知恵だったな。
Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. I felt something strange in my ankle. It was similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized he had me hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall in an almost picture-cure manner.
ケイちゃん、避けて。
Instinctively reacting. Oh my god, damn! I can't English. To me on slow warning, I twisted my body in midair before I landed on the floor.
いっててって
Oh, ow. Oh wait, I don't need to read that. An ink stone filled to the brim was placed right where I should have landed. I shuddered, imagining the situation had I landed square on it.
あらあら、これはこれは。おはようございます、ケイチさん。朝から賑やかですわね。
Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice.
一段とスペシャルなトラップワークになったじゃないか、サトコ。
私何のことかわかりませんもの。朝からついてませんわね。
Yes, yes, we are.
てめえ。
I wondered if you stood attacking her if the teacher wouldn't mind. It seemed that I inadvertently sprained my back a little when I landed. Better than landing on that inkstone. A small hand gently rubbed my head.
ケイチの痛いの痛いの飛んでいけです。
The small dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head.
腰とかはくじかなかったですか？こうして撫でていれば痛いのは消えてきますです。
I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but it didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts.
ありがとな。リカちゃんのおかげで痛みが引いてきたぜ。
リカちゃん、おはよう。レナにおはようございます。
I like how her smile just like casually just went up just a little bit.
みんなにもおはようございますです。
Pika-chan greeted each of us with an adorable little bow. It was infectious. Rena, Mion, and I all bowed back.
リカちゃんはいい子だよな。それに比べてサトコ。
I glared over in her direction. Sadako was whistling while rather deliberately trying to avoid eye contact.
サトコはいい子でございますのことよ。
いい子はこんな凶悪な罠は仕掛けないぞ。
言いがかりでございますわ。何の証拠があって？
I picked up Sadako by the back of her collar. She looks like a misbehaved cat when I do this, but a cat wouldn't be setting traps. She's much harder to deal with.
ごめんなさいって言ってみな。
No.
言わないなら。
I cocked my index finger on my thumb, letting it tremble as I brought it closer to Sadako's forehead.
暴力反対ですの。証拠もないのに。
Yes, I do.
言
You
っ
set
と
the
くが
trap.
俺のデコピンはすごく痛い。ベニヤくらいなら終わる。
We watched
や
you
め
set
て、
the
やら
trap.
ないでけだもの。
人様が聞いたら誤解するような言い方をするんじゃねえ。
A small hand tugged on the back of my shirt.
ケイチが2日間もお休みしたから
I
寂
did
し
not
かっ
mean to
たの
press
で
on
す。
her, but I did. Pika-chan is really just so... How can I do anything more after being told that? I gently released my grip on Sadako, who at this point was on the verge of tears. She still had her eyes clumped shut as she braced herself for the forehead flick.
うわー、悔しくなんかないもん。泣いちゃダメです、サトコ。ファイト、おーです。
Yeah. Rika gently patted the head of her prankster friend. You would never guess those two were the same age. I think Sadako could win a thing or a million from Rika-chan.
今度はもっとすごい罠を仕掛けなさいですよ。
Oh wait, I don't have to read that. I keep forgetting I installed this. Wait a minute. As she observed the scene, Rena's expression grew ecstatic as she began to swoon.
あー、サトコちゃん泣いている。
Look at her eyes.
いいよ。
In the original sprite, should we
持
start
ち
looking?
帰っちゃダメだからね。
だってこんなに可愛いよ。
どんなに可愛くてもダメなの。
Yes, you can. I give you
ち
permission.
ょっとくらいならダメかな。
Rena kept a cutesy face even as outrageous ideas spewed from her mouth. According to Mion, Rena is ridiculously weak to cute things and always tries to take them home. Objective
物
person.
もまずいが誘拐はもっとまずいぞ。諦めろ。
じゃあ見てるだけだよ。それならいいよね。
Rena swooned over Sadako's crying form. If a girl ever goes missing in Hinamizawa, I'll be first to turn Rena into the authorities. Forgive me, Rena. I'll be sure to bring you care packages when they put you...
先生来たよ。
The teacher's coming.
早く片付ける。
Clean everything up.
さとこ、すずりあんたのでしょ。
Oh wait, I don't need to read this. Why? Just for me on single statement, the entire mood of the room shifted back to normal. The inkstand was bad, but the thumbs tack stuck to the... No, let the teacher have that. Even though Sadako was the one who set it up, everyone had to pick up after her. By the time the teacher entered the room, the bed lamp from before had been neatly tidied up.
間に合ったね。
Yes, we did.
起立。気をつけ。
Mion gave out the morning commands. Imagine having morning commands in your school. Couldn't it be me? It's difficult being the teacher for all these different grades in one classroom. She has to teach something different to each one, but naturally she ends up spending all of her time with the younger kids. Rena and Mion, being in the highest grade in the class, end up mostly doing self-study. They even end up helping teach the younger kids, so it seems they can never get to their own studies. They're actually way behind where my studies have progressed to. As a result, I'm pretty much taking over for the teacher and helping Rena and Mion with their study. Okay, so like this is like the worst
ケイチ君はお
production
勉強教えるのうまいね。わかりやすいよ。
Rena took a breather after finishing highlighting an important
教
section.
える端から自信がなくなるよ。自分の理解の浅さがわかるな。
人に教えるには3倍理解してなければならないって言うしね。ケイちゃんもうちらに教えながら同時に復習もできてるわけなんだよ。
In contrast, the person over here is quite ways less fair about things. For one, isn't he supposed to be a higher grade than me?
ミヨンさ、一言じゃないぞ。
Yes, we're forcing you to
真
school.
剣にやんないとまずいぜ。こんなレベルじゃ。
別に進学校を目指すわけでもないし、受験に必要なそこそこができてりゃ十分十分。
Her staunch defiance was really something else. This was a different type of relax than somebody who already knows what they're going to be on the entrance exams.
みーちゃん、ケイチ君が頑張って教えてくれるんだからさ。
But honestly, this is like the least productive class ever.
レナは素直ないい子だな。先生がきっといい学校に進学させてやるからな。
ありがとう。
レナには特に教えてやるからな。二人きりでプライベートレッスンだぞ。
プライベートレッスン。
A puff of smoke tipped like a halo popped out of Rena's head. Exactly what kind of private lessons is he fantasizing about that's making her turn so red? I'd like to hear the play-by-play of that next time. While Mion was flipping through her vocabulary flashcards, she threw out a casual question.
都会じゃさ、こんなに勉強しなきゃいけないわけ？
この程度はできないと進学できないね。
進学できないから勉強するわけ？
まあ、平たく言えばそうなるな。将来役に立たないのは承知で。
Yeah, that's... Keiichi is a genius by saying that's literally the truth. That's like so much the truth. Like, you never need to just casually everyday solve for X. It's just to get into
こっ
the
ちじゃさ、出席日数が足りてりゃみんな進学できるんだよ。
What kind of Hinamizawa
そうなの
University
か？
is there? Study equals entrance exams. Having that basic law of the universe so easily overturned sent me into a state of shock.
そうかもね。
That is right.
試験で振り落とさな
There
きゃ
aren't
なら
really
ない
enough
ほ
people
ど
around
人
you
も
to
いないし、
warrant reading them out with an exam.
誰でも進学できる
If
なら
anyone
さ
can、get to a
そんなにガリガリと
university,
や
then
る
there's
こと
no
も
need to
ないん
be.
じゃない？
All right, I don't
ま
need
あ
to
そう
read
だけど、
it. For the
で
fifth
も一
time.
般常識程度にはできた方が。
おじさんはそんな無駄な勉強に時間をかけるよりさ、この思春期の貴重な時間をもっと有意義に過ごすために使うべきじゃないかなと考えるわけよ。
It was too profound of a statement to simply laugh off. But since it was Mion, it probably didn't actually have that deep of a meaning. In the place of a chime, the sound of the principal waving a handbell drifted through the classroom.
ケイちゃん、おしまいおしまい。さあ、楽しいランチタイム。
An a complete 180 from her unmotivated state, Mion gave the commands that signaled the end of the morning period.
ケイチくん、お昼にしよう。
Yes. I might have been making a very troubled face. Rena smiled brightly at
よっ
me.
しゃ飯にするか。
There seemed to be different cliques even within the class. Most of them were divided up by gender and age, but our group was different. Our ages were different, that we had both boys and girls, but we weren't revised to be around with each other. This level of openness makes a transfer student like me pretty happy. Rena and Mion pushed their desks together so they were facing each other. At the same time, Sadako and Rika-chan were slowly slugging their desks over as well.
ケイチくん、早く早く。
Rena waved her chopsticks in an unrefined manner, trying to hurry me along. Once everyone was together, they wouldn't even open their lunchboxes.
ケイチさんのお弁当は耳ちく日の丸弁当に決まってますわ。さあ、恥ずかしがらずにお見せなさいな。ほらほら。
Even though Sadako was holding insults at me, she still wouldn't open the lid to her lunchbox until I was there. I pulled out my lunchbox swiftly and dragged my chair over to join the circle.
おう、お待たせ。
では、ミー委員長の号令でいただきますです。
Imagine having a signal. At first, this was kind of embarrassing, but I got used to it pretty fast. At this point, I probably wouldn't even open my own lunchbox if someone else was too slow. Our ages and genders may have all been different, but we were all friends.
いただきます。
The sound of a little five-part chorus echoed beautifully throughout the classroom. The other kids in the back just... Oh yeah, the CGs were beautiful. Clearly though, I'd gotten pretty used to this group made up of all girls. Of course there were other boys in the class, but they were a lot younger, so they were scared to approach me. Well, that's to be expected. Younger boys just see older boys as scary. Compare that to the girls, well at least these girls aren't picky. We put all the side dishes in the middle where everybody was free to pick at them. I thought girls would mind sharing a meal with a guy, so I was a bit flustered to join in. However, Mion noticed that and teased me quite a bit. As the fruit of my efforts, I can now reach over and take sides from anybody's lunch.
あらあら、ケイチさんのお弁当は今日は大奮発ではございませんこと。
あらあら、さとこさんのお弁当こそ大奮発ですこと。
Ha.
煮物がシックでいい感じですわ。
Buying into the fight that Sadako was stirring her chopsticks, walked into a counter cross, stomping into each other's
あら、
faces.
ビミ
お、里芋がいい
I
感じ
thought
だ
you
ぞ。
were just insulting
煮
each
物
other's
は冷めてて
lunch.
もうまいよな。
What is happening? After seeing my happy face, Rika-chan expressing broke into a slight
夕
smile.
べの夕食の煮物少し取っておきましたですよ。
Yes. By the way, Sadako and Rika-chan's lunches are always the same. It seems that Rika-chan makes it for both of them every day.
この煮物もリカちゃんが作ったのかい？こいつはお袋の味クラスだよな。
I was honestly impressed. The carrot rosettes weren't from a mold. They were done by hand with a knife. That's not easy to do.
リカちゃんって何気にそういうの得意なんだよな。
お裁縫とかお洗濯とかも上手なの。すごいよね。
Yes, very
す
amazing.
っごいよね。リカはいろいろとすんごいんですのよ。
お前が威張ることじゃねえ。
僕よりレナの方がお料理は上手です。そのね。
It seemed that the topic of the conversation switched to Rena when she wasn't expecting it, making her blush and trip over her words. Rena's lunch was really the star of the table. Not only did it look good, but it tasted good. Everyone else poured from Rena's lunchbox
こ
constantly.
れ前に評判良かったからいっぱい作ってみたの。美味しいかな？
かなり合格点。あ、ミオ、お前取りすぎだよ。
Knocking Neon's chopsticks aside, I reached out trying to secure my own portion. Sadako and Rika-chan reached over at the same time and a struggle ensued. Everyone shoved in mouthful after mouthful while praising it. Rena's lunchbox was soon empty. It was kind of bad, no one thought to leave any for Rena. But Rena seemed rather satisfied as she looked on.
いかがかしら。レナさんもとてもお料理が上手ですことよ。ケイチさんとは大違いですの。
だからお前が威張ることじゃねえだろ。
さとこだってケイちゃんと変わらないじゃんよ。あんたブロッコリーとカリフラワーの区別つくようになったわけ？
Sadako's face went pale.
おいおい、 ブロッコリーとカリフラワーの違いなら俺だってわかるぜ。
わかりますもの。わかるもん。
It's really hard for her to lie.
ケイチくん、
I did
ど
not
っち
mean
で
to
も
skip
茹
past
でてマ
that.
ヨネーズかけると美味しいじゃない。いじめちゃかわいそうだよ。みーちゃんも。
Rena hurriedly tried to follow, but Mion laughed hastily as he drew closer to Sadako.
まあまあ家庭科の授業ってことで。じゃあさとこ、これは？
Mion lifted up her chopsticks. Between them was a piece of green stuff wrapped in bacon.
でもそれアスパラ。
Wow. Owning a piece of bacon wrapped asparagus and giving her two choices is pretty terrible.
その黄色がカリフラワー、緑がカリフラ。
さあどっちだ？
多分黄色がブロッコリーで青がカリフラワー。でも緑は
Wow.
本当にどっちか分かって
Do you
る？
really know which is
降
which?
参した
How
方が
about you
よく
just
ない？
give up? I'd expect no less from the class representative. The oldest. The way she drives people into a corner just shows how much experience he has. This is just a hunch, but being brought into the Sonozaki household must be quite the ordeal.
わかりますもの。わかるもん。
じゃあ答えなよ。
わかるもん。わかるもん。
She finally broke down and started crying. The teacher is doing nothing. When she acts like this, she actually seems her age. Rena entered a state of uproar as Sadako bawled her eyes out. Rena was in a state of bliss, and she rubbed her cheeks against Sadako's head and she smothered her. Really a very content face. One that wouldn't care if the world ended right now. It was that kind of smile.
レナ、ミオンさんがいじめるんですの。かいかい。大丈夫だよ。レナお姉ちゃんが悪い人たちはやっつけちゃうからね。
Yeah. And now she has a million hands. It was like a flash of lightning.
今一体何が？
Both of Rena's fists shot out a supersonic speed, striking me and me squarely in our faces. Before we knew it, me and I were sprawled, spread eagle on the floor, staring up at the ceiling with matching welch on our
ケイ
faces.
ちゃんは食らうの初めてだよね。
Yes.
今日のはまだ甘い方。
Oh.
甘いってこれよりまだ上があるってのかよ。
With that, Mia and I both swamped our heads back onto the floor in unison. From now on, I'll be careful when I'm within striking distance of Rena.
ほらさとこちゃん、やっつけちゃったよ。かい。お持ち帰りしたい。
Making sure Rena couldn't see it, Sadako stuck her tongue at us. Tisk, damn it all, using Rena like a puppet. Rika-chan massaged our bruises without saying a word. No matter what the day had held, the last school bell always came too soon. The shadow stretched off into the distance.
ねえケイチくん、明日はさ、何か予定とかあるかな？
It was such a direct question from Rena, I inadvertently blushed. If it wasn't for a date, then wouldn't you say it more subtly? If it was, not wasn't. Rena saw me lost for words and realized that I misunderstood and turned red as well.
違うの。そういうのじゃなくて、
So apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it's always fun when Rena's in a panic, I went along with it a little.
なんだそういうのじゃないのかよ。
Weighing it up, I slumped my shoulders, fainting to Jackson.
ケイチくん、なんでがっかりしてるんだろう。太郎、みーちゃん。
Unable to hold it any longer, Mion slapped me on the back.
か、そういう攻め方はおじさん知らなかったわ。
なんなの？
Mion was rolling on the floor, clutching her stomach while Rana flailed around, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well, feeling just a bit guilty. I ruffled Rana's hair.
嘘、ごめん、冗談。悪かったよ。
She really is a cute one.
冗談ってどこからだろう？
途中から。
途中からってことはケイちゃん、最初の真っ赤になったのはあれ演技じゃないんだ。
それって。
She's enjoying this. It was only a momentary lapse, but there was no way Mion would let such a delectable detail so fire.
いや、その。
Saying anything more was also a bad idea. In my bewildered state, I slipped further into an unfavorable position. After that, Mion continued to tease me about it for a while.
で、明日が暇だと何なんだよ、レナ。
何の話だっけ？
It'd been so long that I had forgotten. That's how long Mion had teased me.
ケイちゃんさ、まだこのひなみ沢一人じゃ回れないでしょ？
That was true. I hate to say it, but if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times like we were playing pin the tail on the donkey, I wouldn't be able to tell up from down here.
そうだな。町へ行くのと学校へ行く以外はまだ自信ないな。
そうそう。それでね、明日ね、みーちゃんとレナでお散歩しながらケイイチくんにひなみ沢を案内してあげようよってことになって。
That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy about the offer.
もちろん行くでしょ？
暇ならな。
女の子が誘ってんじゃん。
暇ならな。
どうせ暇なんでしょ？
暇ならな。
That I was being so stubborn as not to give a clear yes or no. Even though I thought I was a godsend, I'm too much of a scamp to say it so up front.
ケイイチくん、暇じゃないのかな？この。
While Mion and I had a rather sour back and forth, Rana peeked over at me hesitantly, figuring it had been a bit too rough on her I just gave in.
すまん、許せ、ごめん。暇だ。
Cool.
よかった。
She just looks so done in that face. The trepidation disappeared from Rana's face as it blossomed. She's just so done.
ミヨンさんとレナさんじゃ随分と温度差がありますじゃん。
It seemed Mion didn't care how rude I was to her compared to how quickly I agreed with Rana, but her being ignored was very interesting. So I pushed Rana forward, speeding up her pace to leave Mion behind.
行こう、レナ。明日は二人っきりで出かけような。嫌味なミオンは置いてって。
ケイイチくんがそれでいいなら。
案内しようって提案したのは私。しかとすんな、前原ケイイチ。
二人きりでピクニック嬉しいな。
Alright,
弁当は持ってくか、レナ。
For the 10th time this episode.
お弁当いるならレナ作っちゃおうかな。
レナもしかとすんな。二人がラブラブだって村中に回覧板を。
じゃあレナ、今日は早く帰ってお弁当の準備するね。明日が楽しみ。じゃあね、ケイイチくんにみーちゃん、さようなら。
Rana bounded off like she was walking on the moon. After the dust settled, all that was left was me standing next to Mion, spread out on the ground. There was a welt on her face.
大丈夫か？ミオンとレナの立ち位置に。
あんたが来て以来、切れ味は増す一方。おじさん身が持たないわ。
Maybe it'd be easy if you stopped saying stuff that makes Rana want to hate you. Or else this will end up being Mion's slapstick comedy hour. If that happened, the results might be fatal.
くじけるなよ、ミオン。レナのジャブを見切れるのはお前しかいない。
私は膝じゃないかと思ってんだけどね。
Could it be that we were hanging around with an unrivaled martial artist master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in the Extreme Contact
レナには
sport.
負けられないぞ。ミオンも鍛えてリベンジだ。
ケイちゃんがしてよ。おじさんは応援してる。
Mion Anya and I reaffirmed our determination to discover the way to counter Rena's infallible technique.